So, I, 38 male, have been married to my wife, Nora, 36 female, for 12 years. We have 2 beautiful daughters and a son. Our life wasn't just good. It was the kind of life people envy. We laughed daily, fought rarely, shared everything, and even after a decade together, we still had that spark in our intimacy. Nora stayed home with the kids while I worked a 9 to 5, but I made sure the housework and parenting were 50-50 when I got home. We were a team. We communicated. Every night, we'd lay in bed and talk about our days, our dreams, our worries. It was like our own little therapy session. She always said how grateful she was for our marriage, how lucky she felt to have found me. I felt the same, but about 6 months ago, something shifted. It started subtly. She said she was feeling overwhelmed, like she never had time for herself. So I encouraged her to go out, take time, do whatever she needed to recharge. I even booked her a weekend at a local hotel by herself. No kids, no chores, just peace. I figured she'd come back refreshed, maybe even happier. Instead, she came back more distant. Then came the suggestions. What if we had separate apartments, she joked, just to get some space now and then. I laughed it off, thinking she was just exhausted from parenting. But the comments kept coming. Maybe we should try a trial separation? Don't you think people need to rediscover themselves sometimes? Red flags. Blazing red flags. But I didn't want to believe it. The night I found out, I wasn't snooping. She left her phone on the kitchen table and went upstairs to help our daughter with homework. It buzzed. A name I didn't recognize. I opened it. What I read made my hands go numb. It wasn't just one message. It was a thread, hundreds of texts over the course of weeks, planning meetups, late-night chats. I saw a picture she had sent him. Nothing explicit, but way too intimate for someone who's married. The messages made it clear. She had cheated. And the kicker? One message said, "I had to sleep with him again last night, just so he wouldn't get suspicious." Him, that was me. She apologized to the other man for sleeping with me. Not to me, her husband, but him. That broke something in me I don't know if I can fix. When she came back downstairs, I didn't explode. I didn't scream. I just handed her the phone and asked, "Is there anything you want to tell me?" The color drained from her face. She sat down, quiet. For the longest time, she didn't say anything. Then she cried. She sobbed, and I just sat there numb. She admitted it, said she met the guy on one of her me-time hotel stays, said it started as flirting, and then just happened. I asked how long. She said 5 months. 5 months, our marriage, our family, was a backdrop while she played pretend single. It's been about 2 weeks since I found out. We're still in the same house for the kids, but every day feels hollow. We started therapy. I don't know if it's to fix the marriage or to just keep from losing it all in a blaze. She says she wants to make it work, that it was a mistake, that she loves me, but her actions say otherwise. She still went on her planned girls' trip. She still messages friends like everything's fine. She cries in therapy, but goes silent when I ask her real questions. I haven't told many people. My brother knows. One close friend. That's it. I've protected her image because I don't want the kids to think badly of their mom. But sometimes I wonder if I'm just shielding her from consequences. I don't know what comes next. Some days I want to forgive her. For the kids. For the history. For the hope that maybe, just maybe, this is fixable. Other days, I want to serve divorce papers and never look back. The contradiction is unbearable. How do you still love someone who stabbed you in the chest while smiling at you? How do you co-parent with someone whose love was so conditional? I've started looking at apartments, quietly. I don't want to blow everything up until I'm sure. But something tells me I'm already halfway out the door. She says she's sorry. I think part of her is, but there's a difference between regret and remorse. Regret is, I got caught. Remorse is, I can't believe I did that to someone I love. Right now, she's full of regret. To anyone out there listening, if your partner starts pulling away, listen. If you feel something's off, don't ignore it. And if you're the one who feels unfulfilled in your relationship, talk before you cheat. Please, I don't know what's going to happen. Maybe this is the start of a painful, necessary new chapter. Or maybe it's just the end of a long story that deserved a better ending. But I do know one thing. No matter how much you love someone, you can't build a future on broken trust. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do, for yourself, is walk away. I was with my ex, let's call her Samantha, for 4 years. You know how some people say relationships are like roller coasters? Ours felt more like a scenic train ride. Calm, predictable, safe. Or at least I thought so. We were both in our late 20s, stable careers, decent social life, and the talk of moving in together naturally evolved into buying a house. It felt like the next step. We were that couple who would argue over paint colors, but agree on the big stuff. Marriage, kids, finances, all aligned. We bought a 2-story townhouse on a quiet street just outside the city. I paid the bulk of the down payment, but I didn't care. It was for us. Samantha was so excited about decorating. She had Pinterest boards for every room. We spent weekends furniture shopping, laying on display beds pretending it was already ours. But then, something shifted. About a month before the move-in, I noticed she was distant, brushing off my texts, taking longer to get home, constantly distracted. At first, I chalked it up to stress. Buying a home is stressful, and Samantha always got overwhelmed easily. But when she started guarding her phone like it was a nuclear-launched device, I knew something was off. Then came the classic red flag, I think we need a little space before we move in. That's not a conversation you expect to have after just signing a 30-year mortgage. I asked if something was wrong. She said she was confused, overwhelmed, that she needed to find herself. Well, spoiler alert, she found herself in the arms of her coworker. Turns out, Samantha had been emotionally cheating for months. Her coworker, let's call him Jared, was everything I wasn't. At least that's how she framed it later. He was edgy, outspoken, the kind of guy who made bad decisions sound exciting. They had been texting constantly behind my back, and not just work memes or casual chats. Full-blown emotional intimacy, flirting, future talk. While I was finalizing home insurance policies, she was planning coffee dates. 1 week before our scheduled move-in, she called me crying. Not because she regretted what she did, but because she was confused. She didn't want to go through with the move. She was sorry, but she had feelings for someone else. I was stunned. Not just hurt, hollow. I had poured everything into that life we were supposed to build. My savings, my time, my trust. And now I was left with a mortgage and a broken engagement. I decided to move into the house on my own. The first night there, I sat in an empty living room with takeout and a beer, staring at the walls she picked out colors for. It felt like a museum of a future that no longer existed. Over the next few months, I got my act together. I repainted the walls, got rid of every trace of her. I started working out more, focusing on my career, even went on a few dates. Meanwhile, she was living with Jared. That edgy, exciting guy? Well, turns out exciting also meant emotionally unstable, possessive, and downright cruel. Word got back to me through mutual friends. He isolated her, yelled during arguments, even made her quit her job so she wouldn't be around male coworkers. I didn't feel happy about her downfall, but I also didn't feel bad. Actions have consequences. About 8 months after the breakup, I had finally sold the house. I was days away from moving out when Samantha texted me, "Hey, I heard it's your birthday. I hope you're well." I ignored it. But a few days later, she asked if she could stop by the house to pick up some decor she had bought. I agreed, but told her I wouldn't be home. I didn't want to see her. When I came back later that evening, I found a note on my coffee table. It read, "Happy birthday. I'm so sorry things turned out like this. I'm writing this outside, what should have been our home, in tears. We could have had such a beautiful life together. I will always love you." At first, I was angry. She destroyed the life we planned together, ran off with another man, and now what? She wants forgiveness in the form of a birthday card? But as I read it again, I felt something else. Grief. Because the woman I loved, who once knew how I liked my coffee, who used to dance barefoot in our kitchen, who used to send me sleepy voice notes at night, she was gone. Or maybe she never really existed. I never responded to the note. I didn't reach out. I didn't invite her back into my life. She made her choice. She wrote her story. And while she might now regret the ending, I had already started a new chapter. Sometimes we mourn the version of people we created in our heads. We grieve not for the person they are, but for who we believed they could be. I'm not bitter. I'm just done. She made her bed. Now she lies in it, alone, writing letters to ghosts of futures she burned. So, what do you all think? Was she genuinely remorseful, or just feeling sorry for herself because the grass wasn't green? I'm 28, currently deployed overseas with the military. My wife, she's 25, just finished her own basic training not too long ago. We've been together for 5 years, married for 3. She was always the one person in the world I thought I could count on. I thought we were solid. But lately, things have changed. A lot. Let me rewind for a second. Back when she started basic training, we were both excited. I supported her decision 100%. I was proud, like really proud. We even joked that we'd be the ultimate military couple. Dual service, matching uniforms, power couple stuff. But that version of us, it feels like a memory now, like a daydream that didn't age well. During her training, she started telling me about her new friends, 2 women she got really close to. At first, I thought that was great. Training can be brutal, and having friends makes all the difference. But then she mentioned something that hit me sideways. She casually told me both of these women had cheated on their partners while at training, one of them multiple times. I kind of froze. This wasn't just girl talk. She wasn't gossiping. She was defending them. She literally said, "I mean, if the other person doesn't find out, it's not really a big deal. Like if you cheated on me and I never found out, I wouldn't care." I remember staring at my phone like it had personally betrayed me. I asked her, "Since when do you think like that? You used to say cheating was unforgivable." And she replied with, "People change." That was the first crack in the glass. Now, being away from each other has always been hard, but this time, something feels different. It's not just physical distance, it's emotional too. She's been colder, distant. When I call, it's like I'm the annoying guy she has to deal with, not the man she once couldn't go a day without talking to. Our conversations are short, one-sided. I'm always the one texting first, always the one calling, always the one trying to keep us glued together. She rarely calls me anymore. And when she does, it's transactional, like checking in with an old coworker. And here's where it gets worse. Last week, she told me she was going out to dinner with 2 of her guy friends. Not just any friends, guys she met during her course. I'd never even heard of them before. No heads up, no introduction. Just, "Hey, going out to eat with some buddies." Okay, I'm not a jealous guy. I trust people. Or at least I used to. But later, she tells me she brought these 2 guys back to our house. Our house. The one I'm still paying the bills for while I'm deployed. The one filled with our memories, photos, and all the things we built together. That felt like a slap in the face. She's never invited men over to our house before, not even old friends. So why now? I told her it made me uncomfortable, and she brushed it off. Don't be jealous. They're not my type. And when I brought it up again, she hit me with, bro, they're like children. Bro, she actually called me bro. That might seem small to some of you, but to me, it felt like something broke right there. Since then, everything feels hollow. She posts less, talks less, shares nothing. It's like she's living a whole other life, and I'm just the guy who shows up once in a while on FaceTime. She even said the words, I just feel more connected to my friends from Basic. They get me now. I don't know if it's emotional cheating. I don't know if it's more. But I know it feels wrong. It feels like I'm slowly being erased. The other night, I sat in the corner of my bunk and just stared at the wall for a good 30 minutes. I imagined coming home in a few weeks, and instead of excitement, I felt dread. Dread. That's when I knew something was seriously wrong. I don't know if she cheated. I've asked, and she says no. I've checked what I can from here, and there's nothing obvious. But there's this gut feeling that doesn't go away. She's changed, and maybe I've changed too. But what if I come home and find out the woman I married is gone? What if I'm clinging to something that doesn't exist anymore? The scariest part isn't the potential cheating. It's the indifference, the silence, the ease with which she's let go of us. There's a part of me that still loves her, that still wants to believe this is just a phase, a rough patch, a symptom of distance and stress. I want to believe she's still the girl who cried on our wedding day, who used to fall asleep with her arms wrapped around me like I was her whole world. But that girl, I don't see her anymore. Instead, I see someone I don't recognize, someone who laughs with new people, tells me less, and acts like our marriage is optional. I haven't told anyone in my unit. I haven't told my family. I haven't even told my best friend. But now I'm wondering if I should start preparing myself for what's coming. My cheating story is a bit different since I'm the one he unknowingly cheated on his wife with. I was 24 when we met. He was 38. I met him while he was on duty as a CHP officer. It all began with a question. I had just purchased a new-to-me car, and it was pretty low, and I thought it might be too low. So one day I saw a police officer talking to a neighbor of mine and pulled over and asked him if it was, and he said, "Oh no, you're fine. Let me show you how." And he went over to my car and told me if the car goes over the tire, that's when it's illegal. I'm like, "Oh, okay, thank you." And he asked if I lived around there, and I said yes. I pointed out where I lived. The very next day, as I walked my cousin out, he's passing by. I say hello while covering my face, and he asked why I was covering myself. I wasn't wearing any makeup, and I felt embarrassed, and he said that there was no reason to, that I still was very pretty, makeup or no makeup. After that, he seemed to stop by on a regular basis. After a year of friendship, he kissed me, and I felt a bit odd about the entire situation. So I stopped speaking to him or answering his calls. After about a week, I started to miss him. He had left me a voicemail saying he had started to get the hint, and he wouldn't be bothering me anymore. He called me a few days after that, and I picked up and gave him the excuse of being busy, and I was sorry. He seemed okay with it. We began a relationship a couple of months after that. After 6 months or so, I discovered that I was pregnant. I told him, and when I woke up from emergency surgery, he was there holding my hand. I panicked, realizing the situation, but he told me, "Don't worry, I saw her, and she has a good color. She's going to be fine." He stayed there the entire time until visiting hours were over. He tells me he'll be back the next day once visiting hours began. The next day, about 4 hours after visiting started, he hadn't arrived, so I called him to check if everything was okay. He told me, "I'm not going to be seeing you anymore. I'm married, and I told my wife about us and the baby, and she forgave me, and we're going to work on our marriage." Everything started spinning for me. My sister was standing right next to me and shaking in tears. I told her, "Oh my God, I can't do this," while I gave her the phone. She spoke to him, and I guess he told her, and she hung up the phone and told me, "He's an asshole. Forget his dumb ass." My daughter had been airlifted to San Francisco UCSF Children's Hospital. She's absolutely perfect today. She just turned 18 and is incredibly smart, beautiful, and the greatest daughter I could have ever hoped for. There is a lot more to the story. However, I don't want to go into detail more than I already have. So long story short, when I returned from San Francisco with my daughter, he asked me to forgive him and that he was going to leave his wife. With time, I gave him a chance, and after 7 years, he did it again. I told him that I couldn't do this again, and said he could pick up our daughter for visits any time he wanted, but that my mom would be the one walking her outside to him. He said if I didn't come to the door, that he wouldn't be picking her up anymore. I told him it would be his loss and that he wouldn't be using our daughter as a pawn. He kept good on his word and didn't speak, call, or see her for 10 years until she contacted him a few months ago. He turned around and blamed me for his absence. He said, "Your mom told me to stay away," and I assured her that yes, I did tell him to stay away. From me, not her. She confronted him about the last time we spoke, and his response was, "That could have happened. I'm not saying it didn't, but I don't remember exactly what happened